Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Kim Miller begins now.
Good evening and thanks for joining us. Tasmania Police has apologised after revealing it first became aware of Launceston paedophile nurse Jim Griffin a decade ago. An internal review has found failings in how police handled reports and information sharing as the monster continued his crimes against children.
James Griffin's horrific crimes only ended with his death in 2019. Today it was revealed police first heard his name a decade earlier.
We are truly sorry for any harm caused to the victims who were let down by deficiencies in our investigative process at the time.
From 2009 to 2015, Tasmania Police received 4 information reports about Griffin. Information not from victims, but from third parties. An internal review found police acted appropriately on one report, but a 2011 report was hindered by a lack of information sharing. Issues were raised in a further report from 2013.
I am very disappointed with this. I'm shocked, to be frank.
In 2015, federal police provided a report on Griffin's child exploitation material. The review found deficiencies in the management of that information by Tasmania Police. It's now the subject of a professional standards investigation.
We will learn from this. We will make changes. We will do better for victims.
In May 2019, a victim made a report to police. Griffin remained working at the Launceston General Hospital until July. He took his own life in October as more victims came forward. The Nurse podcast released last year catapulted the story into the spotlight.
This is a complete failure of agencies to take seriously the very real and heartbreaking stories of members of our community.
This has been an absolute tragedy of errors, and what we need to make sure is that this is never allowed to happen again.
Police have established a special team to improve sex abuse investigations, while the state government will spend $1.5 million to search old files for potential perpetrators.
There are failings, there is no doubt about that. What we need to do is to ensure that we fully understand how they occurred, importantly who was responsible, but that's a matter for the Commission of Inquiry.
An update on the Commission is expected next week. Sean McComish, 7 Tasmania News.
And if you or someone you know needs help, contact Lifeline on 13 11 14. Tasmania is once again open to all of Australia as the final travel restrictions with Victoria lifted today. Measures around aged care facilities will also ease, with an unlimited number of people allowed to visit a resident from Monday.
We've been very fortunate that Tasmania, when compared to other parts of this country and compared with other places across the world, that we've been able to get to a place where I think we are the safest place in the country, one of the safest places on the planet.
Meanwhile, authorities say more than 1,500 locals have already received the Pfizer vaccine at the Royal Hobart Hospital in the first phase of the rollout.
Based on our efforts in the first week and our success in drawing 6 doses from the majority of vials, we are on track to have more than 1,100 priority workers vaccinated for each of the next 2 weeks.
More vaccinations are set to begin later next month. And relations appear to be soothing between the state government and the AFL. The Premier says he spoke with League boss Gil McLachlan for more than an hour today.
I don't believe that he's giving me lip service in the conversations that we have, and as I've said, I think today was productive.
Peter Gutwin expects to have another update from the AFL early next week. Almost all ecosystems in Australia and Antarctica, including iconic Tasmanian landscapes, are at severe threat of irreversibly collapsing, according to a new study. Researchers from UTAS found the ancient conifer forests, which populate locations such as Cradle Mountain, are at risk due to the increasing frequency of bushfires.
They evolved a long time ago when Tasmania was connected to Antarctica in a climate where fire practically didn't exist. And so they have no adaptations to cope with fire and to bounce back like our eucalypt forests do.
The study found preventative measures such as temporary sprinkler lines and burn-offs will be increasingly needed to protect high-value areas. Prominent Hobart property developer Ali Sultan has been remembered at a memorial service in Hobart. The Premier was among those speaking at the ceremony at Rest Point this afternoon. Mr Sultan was behind extensive car park and accommodation projects, including the Wellington Centre, Savoy Hotel and the Mantra on Collins Street. He migrated from Lebanon to Australia in the late 60s before setting up his empire in Tasmania. He died while bushwalking on Mount Wellington last month, aged 73. Don't be surprised if you spot artwork popping up around Hobart this weekend. 22 painters have been busy creating murals at 5 different sites across the city as part of the Vibrance Street Art Festival.
It's incredible, like the passers-by and everyone stopping and sort of turning their heads to see, like, you know, a week ago this was an old dreary building and now we've got some life and some colour to it.
So this weekend we've got skateboarding, live music, we've got the Relove Market, we've got all the painting sites happening. There are things for families to come and have a look at.
The week-long Street Art and Culture Festival wraps up on Sunday. The first purpose-built pickleball courts have officially opened in Kingston. It's still an up-and-coming sport in the state, only landing in Tasmania 3 years ago, but organisers say it's already growing a loyal following.
Not to be confused with tennis or badminton. Pickleball is the new game with a peculiar name taking off in Tasmania.
Personally, I think it's a better game than tennis and a better game than table tennis, and so it's sort of a combination of those two sports and maybe a bit of badminton given it's on a badminton-sized court.
Roy was one of the first people to bring pickleball to the state 3 years ago.
It's been hard work to get it going and a commitment, and the commitment sort of, I feel it's worth it now, you know, in reflection, because, you see so many people, we've done something right.
And the staff at the Kingborough Sports Centre have watched it flourish.
It grew so quickly. As I said, it grew from just 1 court to then 2 to then 3, then 4.
Today, another step forward for the sport. The first 4 purpose-built courts in Tasmania now open at the precinct.
Kingborough is the home of pickleball in Tasmania.
Previously we played on a badminton court, which is similar, but there's a few discrepancies in the measurements.
For a number of the players here, it's their very first time trying their hand at pickleball. But organisers assure me it's the perfect game for all ages and abilities.
I still play tennis regularly, and I just love pickleball. It just gets the heart racing and it's very quick, and come along and have a try.
Meg Sides, 7 Tasmania News.
A fleet of 45 boats cruised along the River Derwent today, enjoying the fresh sea air for an important cause. Hitting the waters for the Hobart Rotary Club's 30th Charity Sail Day, aiming to raise $30,000 for community programs.
The business sponsor gets to invite their guests along, or it could be a group of friends coming along and they have a day of fellowship and while at the same time knowing that their sponsorship is raising money for charities.
Our sponsors are Insurance Masters. We've been taking them out for at least 5 years, probably more. I've been doing this for quite a few years, and it's such a wonderful cause.
The group is also hoping to push the total funds donated over the past 3 decades to more than $1 million. More than 50 Hobart businesses put their brains to the test today, competing in a range of intricate and colourful challenges. The Mind Games, promoting positive teamwork skills while raising valuable funds for mental health research.
A rafting race with a twist. It's a team effort to speed up and down this pool, acting as the Bass Strait. Just one of 11 tricky tasks in the 2nd annual Mind Games.
Each stage there's a completely different activity. So we've got a slippery slide up here, we've got bread in go happening here, we've got a game of life over here. It's all happening here today.
Well, it's just really, really competitive. It's so fun.
Switching from pirate to hard hats, fixing a power outage in a dark, misty room, while others bring the game of life to life. 55 teams from local businesses having just 30 minutes to race through each challenge, building teamwork skills and supporting healthier minds in the workplace.
So we're here just to try and raise a bit of awareness around mental health. You know, it's an emerging issue that's out there, and trying to get everyone to talk about it and have those discussions, because a healthy mind and a healthy body is a great way to live.
It's a giant big team building event. It's essentially to raise money for mental health. The money goes to the Menzies for mental health research in the workplace.
All while dressed in vibrant and wacky costumes.
I think we just wanted to do something bright and happy to stand out, so we went for the bright red wigs, the gold glitter and the blue shirts.
80s aerobic Jane Fonda style, I think.
$80,000 has so far been raised for the Menzies Institute. Ruby Kamane, 7 Tasmanian News.
A distillery from the state's southeast has received global recognition. Hellfire Bluff Distillery at Boomer Bay has been awarded Best Australian Contemporary Gin at the World Gin Awards in London. The small batch producer says it's fantastic to stand out in a record crowd of more than 800 entrants. Meanwhile, Tasmanian aquaculture company Petuna has won 2 gold awards for its salmon and trout products at the Sydney Royal Fine Food Show.
A bumper field of world champions and Commonwealth Games medalists have assembled for the Devonport Triathlon. The event will host the Australian Sprint Championships as athletes with an eye on Tokyo battle it out.
For more than 12 months, athletes have been starved of competition.
We had the opportunity to race last weekend, and so to be able to back that up in Devonport this weekend's really exciting.
But finally, the head-to-head battles will return for this year's Devonport Triathlon. Emily Tapp, a 2-time world champion, is coming to the event with one eye on Tokyo. This, one of the only events in the lead-up to the Games.
To have this opportunity is paramount, and most of us have Australian competitors, so to be able to race against them, we're very fortunate.
As is Gillian Backhouse.
Selection's very, very open at the moment, so I'm just aiming to put my best foot forward in every race I compete in and see what happens. I would hope to be at least on the podium tomorrow.
The event incorporating the Australian Sprint Championships, a coup for organisers.
It brings the best of the best down here to race for a national championship, and after the last 12 months that we've had, it actually gets them back racing again, which is what most of them want to do.
2 Tasmanians will compete in the junior section. For local Jonty Armistead, the chance to compete in his backyard is a boost.
All of the races are normally in say the Gold Coast or Canberra, but to have one in Devonport and particularly have such a great event, it's a perfect spot for it.
The main races to take place on Saturday, followed by State of Origin mixed relays on Sunday. Josh Duggan, 7 Tasmanian News.
Tasmanian sprinter Jack Hales has run a season best overnight, clocking 10.21 seconds at the Summer Super Series in Canberra. Hales' times have steadily improved across 3 races in as many weeks. It's still 900ths of a second behind his career best and short of the Olympic qualifier time of 10.05 seconds. Invermay's Rebecca Van Ash has helped consolidate second spot on the Bowls Premier League table for the Adelaide Pioneers. Van Ash came on as a substitute but made an impact on the green.
Hurry! Drag out, 2.
Great finish there for Beck.
Adelaide beat the Melbourne Pulse in a tiebreak.
Good evening. Cressy and Launceston warmed up nicely today after a chilly start. Hobart 19, Burnie and Devonport 21. A few morning showers over the west and far south, but mostly fine today. Bushy Parks and Helens and Lowhead all 21. Friendly Beaches 20, Flinders Island and Grove 19, King Island and Strawn 17. Cloud spiralled into a low off our east. Low-level cloud over the state too. Rainfall to 9 a.m. 42 millimetres fell at Scotts Peak, and since 9 o'clock Nugent, the highest fall with 8 millimetres. Low-level cloud evident over the Bight and across South Australia and the Victorian coast. Convective cloud with the trough sits over inland Queensland. Tomorrow that trough covers many regions as it arcs around the country. A ridge of high pressure remains over southern areas. Winds 10 to 20 knots southwest to southeasterly. They'll tend east-northeasterly later over Bass Strait, swells rising to 4 metres late. Now for tomorrow, 20 in Hobart and partly cloudy. Medina 21, a top of 20 for Oatlands. Launceston shooting for a high of 22 and partly cloudy. Devonport 20 and 17 the top for Lyowini, 3 overnight. 19 the high for Burnie, partly cloudy for Strawn and 20. Marrawar the same. And for St Helens 20 the top, becoming cloudy. Swansea 19, Orford 19 as well. UV 9 and very high going into Saturday. And on Sunday, mostly fine. However, we may see a shower over the north and west and over the east in the evening. Showers on Monday extending statewide during the afternoon, and southwest winds picking up on Tuesday with a shower for the west and south. Sunny in Perth and Adelaide tomorrow, 21 and partly cloudy for Melbourne, a shower or 2 in Sydney, 31 and fine in Brisbane. Partly cloudy and 16 in Hobart, 18 right now in Launceston, Devonport mostly sunny and 19 degrees. next time I see you, Kim, it'll be autumn, the 1st, next month.
So it will. It'll also be called Monday. And that is all your news for now. Join Louise over the weekend. How do I do it? Good night.